Now, you've probably all heard the saying that blood is thicker than water. Well, our first story tests that theory in a very personal and emotional way, proving that in the world of miracles, sometimes water can turn into blood.
How's the search going?
It's going okay.
In 1976, Shirley Armstead was a happily married wife and mother of 2 sons. But Shirley had always dreamed of having a daughter. To ensure that she got one, Shirley decided to adopt.
It's a little bit unusual.
Originally from Louisiana, Shirley came from a Creole background and was looking for a mixed-race child.
My father is part Jewish and French. My mother is also French. That's why I wanted to have a daughter that would blend into our family.
So it is a little bit difficult to find a child.
Because Shirley's request was so specific, the adoption agency was able to produce only one candidate, a 3-year-old child named Dana.
And I'd like to have you take a look at her, see if she might be someone.
It looks so much like my little boy. And she said, "It's not. It's your little girl. It's the daughter that I have for you." And I was like, I can't believe it, because they look so much alike.
The little girl lived in foster care 300 miles away from the Armsteads' Los Angeles home. And as they arrived to meet her for the first time, they were filled with both apprehension and anticipation. Shirley had her heart set on adopting this child. But would the little girl be open and willing to accept them as her family? It didn't take long to learn the answer.
Hi, I'm Derek.
Shirley's oldest son, Derek, still remembers his first impressions.
She was lovable. She had a big smile on her face. She looked very happy.
For Shirley, the moment she knew that Dana was the daughter she'd always dreamed of came from a simple, childlike question.
She kind of won me over when she said, "When we get to my new home, would you please buy me some shoes?" And I thought, that's my girl. She likes to shop. That was it.
The decision had been made, and 4 Armsteads would be returning on the long drive home to Los Angeles.
It made a family. It was good to have this 3rd child in my life to care for and to love.
In the years that followed, it became clear that the Armstead family was where Dana belonged. She may not have been blood-related, but in her heart and in the hearts of her parents and brothers, she was an Armstead.
I think that's where the miracle started, that I was brought into a home and given the love and the care that I needed.
And then, in 1994, tragedy struck. Dana's older brother, Derek, was diagnosed with a fatal illness.
I have chronic kidney failure, comes from hypertension. It is very deadly. You can die overnight, you can die in a week, you can die in 6 months.
Drugs and dialysis would provide temporary relief, but what Derek really needed was a new kidney, and that could take years.
I was afraid for his life because I knew that he needed a donor and that he was on a transplant list. And there's got to be thousands and thousands of people waiting on transplants. What is the likelihood of him getting one?
I was more afraid for my kids because they needed somebody to guide them through life, to show them what was right and what was wrong. And I wanted to be there for them.
Throughout his ordeal, the Armsteads banded together, trying to bolster Derek's spirits, while knowing that none of his blood relatives had tested positive as a kidney donor.
Happy birthday, dear!
His mother put on a brave face, but inside, the thought of losing her son was unbearable.
I felt like dying. Myself. I felt like that's it. I just didn't want to deal with the reality. There was no talk outside about a possible donor. It was almost as if it was a shut case.
In 1976, when Shirley Armstead decided to expand her family by adopting a 3-year-old child named Dana, she had no way of knowing that 23 years later, she would face losing another child, her natural son, Derek. Derek desperately needed a kidney transplant, but none of his blood relatives had tested positive as a match. Time was running out, and even Derek had given up all hope.
I got to the point where I got really, really depressed, and I was ready to give up because I saw no hope.
I'm gonna go with the miraculous gut.
Dana was particularly concerned about her older brother.
I'm going to get tested. What do you think about that?
I think you're crazy.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Derek had always told her that because she was not a blood relative, the odds of being a match were a long shot, and she should save herself the trouble. But time was running out. Dana decided she had nothing to lose.
Don't worry. You've been worrying too much.
I just said, wouldn't that be funny if I was a match? And he goes, yeah, right. And that was it. It was left at that.
And when she told me she was going to go down and be tested, I just really didn't think much of it. I was like, yeah, whatever, go for it.
And she did. The first step was blood screen testing for kidney compatibility.
As I was going through the testing, I was hoping inside, oh God, I hope everything works out fine. I hope I can help him.
Knowing that the odds of matching her stepbrother's kidneys were very slim, Dana turned to prayer.
I would go home and I would say, Dear God, please help me to be able to help Derek. I don't feel that this is something Derek deserves or something that he brought upon himself. Please continue to bless me to be able to help him.
After a battery of additional blood and tissue tests, Dana received the news she'd been praying for.
First, I called my mom and I said, you're not going to believe this. She said, what?
It was a match. Can you believe it?
I said, I can donate a kidney to Derek.
Oh. Yeah.
I was speechless. I didn't say anything. I was choked up. I couldn't say anything.
I am so happy.
And she said, you have got to be kidding. And I could hear the joy in her voice, like she was on the verge of tears. And she said, now, isn't that ironic? That we would pick you 23 years ago out of a foster home, and you would turn up to be the person that can save Derek's life.
You're kidding, right?
When she told her brother, he also couldn't believe the news.
And he laughed it off. I said, no, we are a match, and I can give you a kidney, so don't chicken out now.
My whole life changed because I saw a chance to give my kids a better life, let them enjoy some of the things in life that I did when I was coming up. I just felt a whole lot of hope at that point.
On March 31st, 1999, Derek and Dana checked into the UCLA Medical Center. Transplant Day had finally arrived, and a camera crew from It's a Miracle was there to document it and speak with Dr. Alban Gritch.
Both of them are relatively young and healthy, and so their blood vessels and their tissues should be in good condition, and I don't have any concerns that they will, have problems with the operation at this time.
As medical technicians prepared them for the operation, they were flooded with mixed emotions, but mostly relieved that the transplant was finally going forward.
When I wake up, I'm a whole new person.
He just asked me if I was sure that I wanted to still do this, that I could still chicken out. It's my last chance. I'm fine, I'm staying. It's a go.
Dana was first to go under the knife, and almost immediately there were complications. Her mother waited anxiously in the hall.
I'm nervous right now. We've waited for so long for this to happen. This is it. My heart is going tick, 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 tick. Really anxious. I want it to be over.
After nearly 3 hours and the removal of 2 ribs, the doctors were finally able to extract Dana's left kidney.
Here's the kidney, and we're going to take it next door. It's all ready to go.
Kidney's here. Kidney's here.
Shirley and the rest of the family waited nervously as the kidney was transplanted into Derek.
You little monster. Calm down. All right.
Oh, I'm hoping that everything will work for both of them, especially Derek. Yeah, because if it doesn't, we know what the end result will be. He will die.
4 hours after the surgery began, the Armstead family were given the news they'd been waiting for.
Everything went just fine with both operations. They're both in the recovery room, and you'll be able to see them up there.
It was a joyful moment for the Armstead family, who can only wonder at the remarkable sequence of events that gave Derek a new chance at life.
I definitely believe it's a miracle. For some reason, my picture was the only one that was given to them. They chose me.
I feel very strongly that there was a miracle that took place. When God put that little girl in my life 23 years ago, I had no other children to choose from, only that one. There wasn't a question. It was like, she's yours.
Hi, I'm Derek. You must be Dana.
I believe that she's my guardian angel, that she was sent here from God 23 years ago, and he made it possible that we were a match so that she could do this for me.
It's been 6 months since Derek received his new kidney, and there have been some surprising developments. We thought you might be interested in learning how the miracle has continued. And so, joining us now live are Derek and Shirley Armstead. Hello there.
Hi.
How are you all doing?
That's fine.
Good, thank you.
So how are you feeling right now, Derek?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel excellent, matter of fact.
Well, good. Well, you're looking fine. How about Dana? Has she fully recovered?
She's doing well. She's recovering. She's back to work, and everything's looking good for her.
Well, that's a happy ending. That's wonderful. Now, I know that something happened shortly after the surgery that was very disturbing. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, right after the surgery, I had a situation of what you call kidney rejection. And what happens is the kidney does not actually take the actual exceptions of your body. Therefore, what they do is they give you several different medications to try to get it under control and get it functioning again.
Oh, that must have been very, very frightening. That turned out okay, though, right?
Yeah, it was very frightening for me because my life was going to go back to what it used to be.
Right.
And so I was very terrified of that.
And I understand that you didn't mention any of this to your sister or your mom. Why was that?
No, I did not, because I didn't want them to worry or fear anything. And it was kind of like a personal thing for me because I wanted to get through it by myself.
Of course, I understand. And Mom, how about you? How did you feel about that when you found out what had been happening?
Well, I was terrified, actually, and kind of upset with him because he didn't share it with anybody. But that's Derek. That's Derek's way of doing things. He doesn't share too much.
Well, he's a tough guy. He's been through a tough thing, and you're a wonderful bunch. I'm sure you're all relieved everything worked out for everybody.
Yes, we are.
Well, I'll tell you something, Derek. You continue to be living proof that miracles can and do happen. And
Yes,
Derek
they do.
Yes, they do. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.